Good afternoon, everyone. I am Carla Sanders, the Cosmic Crone, and it is time for the Divine Feminine Astrology reading, Full Moon in Taurus, Sun in Scorpio. And what can I say? Welcome to eclipse season. We are looking at a lunar eclipse, partial lunar eclipse, that will be visible throughout all of North America and other parts of the world, weather permitting. And we're looking at some mighty oppositions and conjunctions here. At this full moon portal, all of the Liliths are fully engaged. Black Moon Lilith, Algol, the demonized goddess, Lilith star, and the asteroid Lilith, who is conjunct Chiron. We've also got Venus in play, and Mars, and a few other, Magdalena, a few other things. So I'm going to sort this out for you a little bit. The people in my world, a lot of people are already feeling this whole Scorpio season very intensely. The new moon in Scorpio just hammered a lot of people. The people I do astrology readings for, private clients I work with, and other people in my circle are all talking about how intense the new moon 2 weeks ago, or basically a week ago, it landed in their charts on top of other planets, rising signs, you name it, mid-heavens, and it's jangling. It's jangling. It's calling us to step up in a bigger way, and very often that means going deep in a bigger way. And it's not always pleasant, not at all. So full moon's coming, eclipse, and guess what? Almost everybody who had the new moon touching an important point in their chart also has the full moon, the moon and or the sun touching an important point, and I am no exception. 2 people I know, including me, have the sun and Magdalena sitting on top of their personal natal Black Moon Lilith. That is a call to major transformation, stepping up, expansion, and awakening. And wherever you are on that spectrum, it's going to reach and grab you and say, wake up, step in, step up. Here's where you're at, here's where you're going. Here's what needs to happen. Are you ready? Are you willing? I know you're able. So here we are. Thank you, full moon. The main thing to talk about, and it's just already so intensely activated, and being an eclipse is sometimes called a blood moon, because as the moon moves through the Earth's shadow, I guess the moon is moving through the Earth's shadow because the moon is moving faster. It casts a red light. It reflects back. Now, in a partial eclipse, you're not going to see that red color. You'll see a dimming of the moon's light. It might catch a little bit of a red spectrum, but the naked eye will see what it sees. And so you've got a red moon, technically, and Algol. Algol is the eye of Medusa, also known to the ancient Hebrews as the Lilith star. And we tap into her energy as the demonized goddess, the all-powerful divine feminine that human beings once worshipped, once adored, once acknowledged as sacred, but then was demonized and banished by patriarchy, banished from the hearts and minds of human beings. And so we learn to fear her. we associate her with satanic forces, demon forces, and she's right here, conjunct the full moon in late Taurus, and she's tapping into moon energy, full moon energy. I mean, we associate it with a lot of mythic creatures of violence and fear, like werewolves, witches, magic of all kinds. Also, fertility, ovulation among women, that sense of possibility, of greatness, of expansion, of the womb in its power. And therefore, I think this full moon is fully giving birth to the dark feminine. Algol is streaming in on this moonlight opposite the sun and saying, I am here. See me, acknowledge me, let me in, receive me, and honor me. So I advise all of the women in my world at this full moon to make an altar to the dark goddess. And we tend to do that almost instinctively at the new moon, at the dark moon, because that is a time for going within. And the full moon tends to be a time for expanding and outward expression. Circle time. And that's what Algol's calling for. The circles of women. See this painting? Algol is saying, I am at the center of your circle. Bring your circles together. And I will be in circle with my sisterhood next weekend during the full moon. One reason you're getting this reading a little earlier than I usually do it. But also these energies are building now. That new moon is segueing into the full moon almost seamlessly. And the only way to walk through this is to expand to allow it in. The full moon is an expansion energy. And the sun opposite the full moon, they are loving each other across the sky. Oh. So just tap into that, feel into that right now. And what comes up for you? Well, one of the things that can come up at any full moon is rage. As we said, the dark, what we perceive as dark forces, evil forces, werewolves, fear, death. These things tend to, craziness, lunacy. Excuse me. These tend to come up at the full moon. Police reports can go crazy at the full moon. Emergency rooms can go crazy at the full moon. So in your own life, if your own emotions are responding to this energy in an amplified way because of the dark goddess and a few other things that are going on, then it's, I don't really like the expression lean into it, but the point is, do not reject it, do not judge yourself, do not think something is wrong. Breathe into it and say, what do you have to teach me? This is Scorpio time, and we've been in Scorpio time. Scorpio time is the time for going within and tapping into that darkness, the forbidden, the things we don't talk about, the taboo. And taboo is another word for sacred. So tap into the sacredness of your womb, your sexuality, the transformation represented by death, and bring forth all of those demonized parts of yourself. This full moon, one thing that's interesting, I'm going to give you a little taste of astronomy, because when you look at the moon on the morning of the full moon. It's happening actually at 4 a.m., 3:57 a.m. Eastern time. And a lot of us are awakened, especially us crones. We find ourselves snapping awake at around 4 a.m., way before we thought we wanted to get up. So the full moon is going to be calling us, and that's going to be tricky. But tune in, whether you step out and look at the moon or whether you just lie in bed and feel her. Tune in to that dark energy. And if you do look at the moon, notice that you are also looking at Algol. Now we can see Algol. She is a naked eye star in the constellation Perseus, representing Medusa. He has just cut off Medusa's head and he's carrying her around as a weapon. Isn't that interesting that patriarchy taught us to weaponize feminine power? They co-opted it, usurped it, weaponized it. We reclaim it, put it back into our wombs, back into our yonis, let it rise up into our hearts and our voices, and we create with it. This is what we are for. Do not let your creative power be weaponized by the patriarchy or any of the patriarchal systems that we by necessity must plug into in order to live in this world. So this is a subtle and tricky thing, to be in the truth of this, to reclaim this energy of our wombs, of the fire, of the feminine, of the darkness, and be not afraid of it, to be friends with it, to let it teach us moment by moment. That's the main energy of this full moon. And that creates a lot of conflict. It involves a lot of healing. It involves a lot of doing things that are unfamiliar and frightening to us, like stepping into power, acknowledging desire and ambition, feeling all of our emotions, including rage. And that's why I am preparing a free masterclass on the raging womb, how we learn from our rage and transmute it into the power that it stands for. Feminine rage is a product of suppression, oppression, and repression. And when we know how to work with it, it becomes something not to fear, but something to utilize, to work with on the spectrum. And I'll be talking about that the first week of December. So we won't go too far into that right now. Right now, I want you to be aware, just to be aware, that all of your feelings, this is not something to wait. I can't, how often have I heard, how often have you said, I can't wait till this time is over. That's a wasted opportunity. Dive in, dive in. So what are your resources for diving in? Well, what else have we got going on? There are a lot of oppositions. Let's look at the other two Liliths. Black Moon Lilith. Black Moon Lilith represents the divine feminine creative principle. You just look at her holistically. I begin to see the figure 8, the meniscus, it's called, I think. I got that right? Anyway, it is the infinity sign. It's universal, and it taps into so many things. The energy of grandmother spider that I wear around my neck and carry in my body. The energy of one of these lobes of this figure 8, this infinity sign, is the vastness, the void, the great dark. And then it crosses through a portal like the womb and becomes form, everything that was created. So this is the energy of Black Moon Lilith. the goddess Lilith expanded to a universal feminine level, and she has lots of counterpoints our counterparts in the astrology. Excuse me, my voice is disappearing. I don't know why this is. So Lilith, Black Moon Lilith in Gemini, 1344 Gemini, is opposite the Great Attractor, and the Great Attractor is one of her counterparts. If we look at the vibrations of the planets as like use a musical analogy, we're looking at octaves. So Lilith herself has 4 octaves in the chart. I'm going to talk about 3 of them. The Divine Feminine has many octaves, but another octave of that Lilith energy is the Great Attractor. Infinitely vaster than Black Moon Lilith, infinitely mysterious. We do not know what it is. We only know where it is in our sky, Sagittarius, and what it's doing. It is calling us. Our galaxy is moving towards this point, along with 100,000 other galaxies. So that feminine is literally calling us, attracting us, and she is now opposite. She is reaching out across the sky to Black Moon Lilith and kind of pulling on her chain. I see oppositions. Oppositions are mysterious to me. My sun and moon are opposition. I was born at a full moon. And I adore the moon, and I'm mystified by it. And I think that's a lot of what oppositions do. It puts the apparent great gulf of understanding between our consciousness and that which is opposite. And so we reach out to it with yearning, longing, desire, and projection, and we're trying to figure it out. We're trying to bridge the gap. So there's a great deal of creativity, imagination, and awareness that becomes available to us when we are in the grip of an opposition. It's considered a tough aspect. But I feel like that space between is so potent with energy and gift and opportunity that we can look at the thing opposite or look at these 2 things opposite and say, what are you saying to each other? How can I understand the 2 of you? What polarity is being represented? Because we always remember anything that's going on in the astrological chart, you are at the center. So you are in between all these opposites, and they are working on you. So the Great Attractor is on one side of you, and Black Moon Lilith is on the other. You are in the middle, and it's like they are working through the lens of you, seeking to understand each other. Now, this is getting incredibly mystical, metaphysical, and I said a prayer before I came to really help me understand oppositions, and this is what's coming out. So remember that the oppositions are being filtered through you. And the gift to you and the requirement of you is to sit in between these oppositions, and you can release your mind because your mind probably can't understand it, but just allow these energies to pass through, to merge, to unify inside of you. And that is how you derive the meaning. In other words, you are the PowerPoint of these astrology readings and these pictures of the universe. It's really, everything here is communicating with you. Now, a full moon is happening worldwide, so it's communicating with everybody. And it's also interacting with your natal chart, which is why I encourage you to get a Divine Feminine Astrology reading with me if you don't have one. Take a look and see where the Sun and Magdalena and Black Moon Lilith and the Moon in Algol are landing in your chart so you can better understand the work that is before you and the gifts that are before you. We've got another incredible opposition. Vesta has just entered Sagittarius at 1.5 degrees, and she is opposite the North Node in Gemini, which means she's conjunct the South Node. So looking at it universally, Vesta and the North Node are setting up this priestess vibration. The erotic flame inside of us is activated. And is it being activated in a way that is useful, that is masterful? Or is it being activated in a way that doesn't know what it's for? That doesn't, that lacks understanding, that is kind of mystified and possibly alarmed by what is being felt, being experienced. Looking at it universally, there's a lot of healing that's being called for in the priestess archetype because women are being called to activate their priestess archetype and stand in power. And the beautiful thing about the priestess archetype is that it is multitudes. It has many facets. And so whatever talents and gifts we bring to this lifetime, the priestess archetype can say, I need you for this, I need you for this, and I need you for this. We do not have to all be alike. We are not supposed to be alike. So, activated at this moon, Vesta and the North Node, and they will be traveling. This is happening now. And it will continue through the full moon and for a few days after. And then Vesta will move on. And the North Node will move on. And they will kind of break this, this kind of magical stream that they've created. What else do we have here? Well, the most blessed thing, I think, is Magdalena is in an exact conjunction to the Sun opposite the Moon. And she is feminine Christ consciousness and a great teacher. And so she is saying, learn the lessons of this time. Absorb this. This is, and Magdalena also carries a lot of priestess energy. That is one of the roles of the priestess, is to teach the people. And Magdalena carries that, and she is merged with the Sun. So she is saying, teach yourself and teach others. And this can happen incredibly informally, or it might be related to your calling, your life's work. Whatever it is, listen to it, pay attention. Mercury is not far away, and I'm fascinated because Mercury in Scorpio is sitting on top of my natal Saturn in my first house, and I'm listening carefully to what they have to say to me. They are very much talking to me about structure, form, ritual, teaching, teaching classes, creating containers of initiation and of ceremony. These things are all up for me right now. I am personally doing that work on behalf of others, and it's no surprise to me that things are focused right now with that. And Mars will be merging also. Mars is on the way to all of that. Mars is having a beautiful conversation with Venus. Venus is in Capricorn. We will be talking about Venus in Capricorn much more in the future. This is a sneak preview. Venus will go retrograde in Capricorn and will be in Capricorn for the next 4 months, I believe, as she is doing that. Extraordinary. Now that is Venus in her crone phase. Venus in Capricorn is all about the grandmother or the crone. Now let's talk about that for a minute. What have we got going on here? We have Mars in Scorpio, where he is a ruler, setting fire to all of this energy. That's one reason this Scorpio season feels so intense, because Mars has been in Scorpio for this entire moon cycle and will be, I think, even through the next eclipse. I haven't checked that, but the solar eclipse is December 4th, so we're not through this for quite a while. So Mars is talking to Venus, and oh my gosh, when they talk, sparks fly. They are the great lovers of the sky. So they are masculine and feminine. We can apply many, it's a lightning bolt of erotic energy. Oh, isn't that interesting? Vesta is right between them, along with the great attractor. They are pointing, the two of them are pointing to Black Moon Lilith. So this is a representation almost of, it's like this metaphor of opposites, polarities, and being in the center, not to balance that which is too dynamic to balance, really, because balance implies control, but of receiving that energy and letting it merge within you so that you can understand it. Well, they are enacting this in what we call a yod formation with Black Moon Lilith. Mars, Venus having a conversation on either side of the great attractor, and all of them pointing to Black Moon Lilith. And Black Moon Lilith is that vast feminine becoming form. It has a lot of Christ-like energy to it. God become man. Cosmic energy becoming life. It's, you got anything you're creating? Get to work on it. Open your notebook. Open your laptop. Open your studio. Grab a ball of clay. Turn on the music. Whatever it is, whatever mode of creativity you're working with, this energy is here for you. And this is how you will learn, because you can create your way through some of the deepest healing, trauma healing, ancestral healing, inner blocks and limitations healing. Create your way through it. One of my mentors likes, what's the expression she used? Outcreate the matrix. When we are in creative mode, we are unstoppable. We are a force of nature. That's the way life works. So Venus is also, there's a grand earth trine going on. Venus in Capricorn, Uranus and Albion in Taurus, and Psyche in Virgo. Psyche, interestingly enough, is, she was, in mythology, a woman, a mortal, who, she was a virgin, she was hapless, she was young, a maiden, all the maiden energy, kind of the fool energy, incredibly beautiful, gifted, talented, and yet with no self-confidence and looking outside herself for direction. Which way shall I go? What should I think? What shall I do? no sense of self, no sense of sovereignty. However, she makes a huge journey facilitated by Venus, and not in a particularly kind way. Venus basically initiates Psyche until Psyche becomes her divine feminine self. And then who else is playing in this Earth triangle? Uranus. Uranus is, he's lightning bolt, sudden change, epiphany. That is my favorite word for Uranus, epiphany, because tapping into spiritual change, spiritual awakening. People who are familiar with the New Testament might think of Paul and Road to Damascus. I mean, it's a simple, and most of the saints, even the Buddha, had an epiphany. It's just a complete awareness of, this is what is true. This is who I am. This is what I must do. And so during this time, where Venus and Uranus, we're going to be in this communication, because as Venus retrogrades, it's going to return to this space. Now, Psyche is going to keep moving on, but Venus and Uranus are going to keep talking for the next few months. But what you can do with this energy at the full moon is allow yourself to be open. This, first off, this is a grand Earth trine. So put your feet on the ground. Sit and open your pelvic floor and your root, and your yoni, your balls, whatever parts you have, male or female, this works. And receive that grounding energy. You are held here in the center of this circle safely. So you can allow that energy of the epiphany, of the transformation. And if it's coming in the form of something outside yourself, a life experience, news, information, a dream, something, however it comes, know that you can handle it, that it's here for your transformation, your growth, your good, tapping into Venus energy, which is love, beauty, sex, attraction, wealth, abundance, all of these things, and Psyche, which is transmuting, growing from that part of you that is childlike and hapless and doesn't know anything and who's trying to figure things out, into the goddess. This is what's available to you at this full moon eclipse. And I can feel the intensity of the energy. I am so tuned into it right now. It is here for us. The full moon is a week away. And it's already happening. There is no time. Is there anything else I need to let you know about here? Well, I think something that's interesting, and this will probably, another aspect that will happen, be happening a little bit as Hecate is retrograding back and forth in Aries. She will be square Venus in Capricorn doing her retrograde. So this emphasizes Venus in Capricorn as the grandmother and the crone, because that is the avatar of Hecate that we most associate with her. Dropping into that wisdom. Hecate could get more done as a crone than she could in any of her other maiden or mother faces, which she has them all. So they are connected. They are connected in a place that requires action and intention in order to release that energy. So we're going to just watch that. Know that it's here. It's activating during this full moon, and it's going to keep going over the next few moon cycles. And then we have the, actually close enough to be in a conjunction with Hecate is Chiron and Lilith asteroid. Lilith asteroid is the internal disowned feminine. And we are always working with that. Anytime we are stepping into power, manifesting a desire, laying down boundaries, healing ourselves, healing our relationships, doing whatever is necessary to reclaim a sense of ourselves, we are tapping into what I know as the feminine wound represented by the Lilith asteroid. And she is merged with Chiron right now. So Chiron is basically holding this Lilith energy and saying, all of you need to heal the disowned feminine within, a part of yourself that you have repressed. And this is for male humans as well as female humans and anywhere in between or beyond. The fact is, where have you disowned yourself? Where are you thinking you're absolutely not good enough to have that part of yourself be expressed, known, felt, loved? And the beautiful thing, Lilith and Chiron together, the healing is on. They're both retrograde right now. So they're both, the suggestion is, it's not even an implication. It means you are going within to say, okay, where have I repressed this? Where am I hurting? Where am I denying? And then as they turn direct, and I don't know how congruent that turning direct will be. I haven't looked ahead to see when they both go direct, but as they each turn direct, then it will emerge. It will come out as something that you are, sorry, a big tractor just drove into my driveway. It's very distracting. It's lovely. Maybe you can hear it, the truck. Kind of excited. Something's going to happen on the land. Yay. We're doing a lot of work on the land right now, so this grand earth trine is telling me, get out there and create that sacred space you've been working on all this time. So where I'm going, I'm going to make sure I finish my sentence about Chiron and Lilith. When they go direct, that is when you will take that healed energy and begin to step out, step into your power and start creating with it. And they happen to be talking to oh, thank you. Some folks are giving me comments that are disappearing before I can read them, so I'll look at them later. Maybe I'll look at it before I go off. Chiron and Lilith asteroid are talking to Saturn, which means Saturn's a container. So he's saying, I see Saturn as a creative energy, because one thing you learn as an artist or anybody creating anything is that form gives the energy a place to play and grounds it and allows something amazing. It's necessary for communicating. It's necessary for healing. And so Saturn, I think, is saying, make ritual, make art, maybe you need to make boundaries. Definitely you need to make boundaries, because if you've got Chiron and Lilith up, boundaries are one of the solutions. Let's see, what else have we got? I think that about covers it. Just realize that I want you to enjoy this full moon. Enjoy it. Enjoy the ritual. Enjoy the creativity. Enjoy all the stuff that you feel. If you can take whatever's coming up for you. And I know that a lot, I had a dream last night about, a serial killer was after me. And it wasn't even scary. And I think what it was is that I am processing a lot of things that I am letting go of, that I am growing past, which is exactly what I'm here for. And I haven't finished looking at that dream yet. He didn't kill me. He was aiming for me, but he was also challenging me. And now that I think about it, I've had several dreams this year in which someone is trying to kill me and they do not. And yet they do kill parts of me. Not the me that's in the dream, but the part of me that's my sidekick in the dream, one way or another. So something's happening here, and this is true for all of you, all of us, planetary, as a collective, but understanding it and working with it and being a contribution to the collective is an individual job, purposeful. So if you can just be with what you're feeling and find a place of deep gratitude, even if you're, screaming, crying, howling, the full moon is made for howling, absolutely. And so if you can just love yourself through it and experience some pleasure, some appreciation, and say, wow, I didn't know I liked roller coasters, or I love roller coasters, and that's what I'm on. And this full moon is taking you up, 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 and then it's about to go whee. So I think I can stop now. Thank you for being here. Please do hit me up for a Divine Feminine Astrology reading. I'll put the link in the comments. I'm going to take a look here at your oh, hi Joy, that's you. Thank you. Always a pleasure. Happy to see you too, Joy. And I was just talking about joy. Have joy during this full moon. It's really what it's all about. I will see you next time for the new moon and look at the Divine Feminine Astrology reading, and be sure to sign up for the Raging Womb Masterclass series so you'll get some really practical work for dealing with all this dark goddess energy and Vesta energy that is firing up inside of you. Until next time.